So imagine a film made by your high school English teacher. So take a random Shakespeare story, let's say Hamlet, and replace the characters with Vikings. And for good measures, take the guy from that random Tarzan movie that no one watched. But you know what? I don't care. He made a great film. The Northman was directed by Robert Eggers, and it stars Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Ethan Hawke, and Nicole Kidman. My anticipation levels for this film was on a pretty high level, well, because Robert Eggers' name was attached to it. Robert Eggers has become one of my favorite up-and-coming filmmakers. The Witch was an excellent directorial debut, and The Lighthouse was a masterpiece in its own right. I was utterly stoked to see what Robert Eggers had cooking up next. The Northman is yet another solid film in Robert Eggers' filmography. I don't love it as much as The Lighthouse, but it is still an incredibly solid film. Like a classic Shakespeare play, it is split up into 5 acts. As I said earlier, it is practically Hamlet, but with Vikings. But in reality, this story actually came out first. It's based off of the Scandinavian legend of Amleth, which was one of Shakespeare's main influences in crafting the story of Hamlet. I had absolutely no background knowledge on this story, but I was pretty familiar with the story of Hamlet. Watching this film, I was left engrossed in its atmosphere and time period. Yes, it's a bit of a slow burn, but I never checked my watch once. I was always left under a spell of engagement while watching this film, but it doesn't fail to entertain also. This film has some dream sequences that are just incredibly awe-striking. Honestly, I was just left speechless while watching these scenes, and being able to experience this on the big screen was truly a treat to my eyes. Also on this topic, Willem Dafoe is also in this movie. Even though he isn't in it much, he still steals the show. I am incredibly grateful of the fact that this film exists in 2022. In a world where films are kind of beginning to feel similar to each other, this film stands out against the pack as something totally different and unique. The battle scenes in this film, though, are extremely grisly and brutal. This film uses its gore and dismemberment wisely. It doesn't overuse it to the point where it becomes gratuitous or where the audience grows numb to the gore and dismemberment. It's used enough to the point where it leaves a lasting impression on the audience. This film isn't afraid to dive into some pretty ugly subject matter. There's absolutely no glorification of the Viking lifestyle. It's very clear who the protagonists and antagonists are in this film, but there are no good guys or bad guys. Characters in this film betray our trust, and we watch them commit terrible atrocities. Though this is an incredibly accurate telling to how Vikings behaved. After all, they were considered barbarians. Though towards the end, this film does get a little predictable. If you know the general plot structure of this type of story, it's pretty easy to predict what's going to happen at the end, unlike Eggers' other film, The Lighthouse, which always left you guessing at every second. Though I wouldn't exactly recommend this film to everyone. It is an acquired taste after all. Some scenes are just way too disturbing for some people, and others may find the pacing of this film way too slow. Though going into this film, I wouldn't expect an action film. If you are a fan of last year's The Green Knight like myself, you will definitely dig this. And if you're a fan of Robert Eggers, I would highly, highly recommend giving this film a watch. Overall, The Northman gets an A-. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my review of The Northman, and if you did, make sure to give this video a like. And if you want more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell notification so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And shout out to the Mountain Chicken and Drew Barrymore. Thanks for watching.